The story behind the hymn, Amazing Grace. Written almost 2.5 centuries ago in 1772, the words for the beloved song were born from the heart, mind and experiences of the Englishman John Newton. Knowing the story of John Newton's life as a slave trader and the journey he went through before writing the hymn will help to understand the depth of his words and his gratefulness for God's truly amazing grace. Having lived through a rather unfortunate and troubled childhood, his mother passed away when he was just 6 years old. Newton spent years fighting against authority, going so far as trying to desert the Royal Navy in his 20s. Later, abandoned by his crew in West Africa, he was forced to be a servant to a slave trader but was eventually rescued. On the return voyage to England, a violent storm hit and almost sank the ship, prompting Newton to begin his spiritual conversion as he cried out to God to save them from the storm. Upon his return, however, Newton became a slave ship master, a profession in which he served for several years. Bringing slaves from Africa to England over multiple trips, he admitted to sometimes treating the slaves abhorrently. In 1754, after becoming violently ill on a sea voyage, Newton abandoned his life as a slave trader, the slave trade, and seafaring, altogether, wholeheartedly devoting his life to God's service. He was ordained as an Anglican priest in 1764 and became quite popular as a preacher and hymn writer, penning some 280 hymns, among them the great, Amazing Grace, which first appeared in the Olney Hymns, printed by Newton and poet/fellow writer William Cowper. It was later set to the popular tune New Britain in 1835 by William Walker. In later years, Newton fought alongside William Wilberforce, leader of the parliamentary campaign to abolish the African slave trade. He described the horrors of the slave trade in a tract he wrote supporting the campaign and lived to see the British passage of the Slave Trade Act 1807. Amazing Grace Song Meaning. The hymn has gone on to become one of the most powerful songs in the world and a favorite hymn for many. The song offers up a universal message of hope and redemption. Everyone who listens to it can interpret a different meaning for themselves. John Newton is said to have written the hymn as a heartfelt expression to God. It was a pivotal time in his life when God had saved him from the storm and through the Bible has helped him to leave behind the wicked business of slave trading. The song also became a well-known anthem of the civil rights movement. It wasn't until later on in life when Newton was a priest that he debuted the hymn. It was originally known as Faith Reviews and Expectations, before it was changed to the opening line of the song. The hymn opens with the powerful lyrics, Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound, that saved a wretch like me. Newton drew on his own life working in the slave trade and his near-death experience on a boat, where he believed God saved him and prompted him onto a Christian path. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind but now I see. Some people argue that part of the huge appeal of the hymn is the incredible backstory that brought it to life. Newton went from being a cruel slave trader to a highly respected minister. However, many people don't know the song's backstory before hearing it. The message of the song is vague enough that it can be applied to anyone's life. The song represents the personal journey many people can relate to, wanting to find meaning in our lives through faith. It offers hope to those who are wishing to become better and positively change their life around, yet it does not appear judgmental. It is a song that has transcended any one meaning, but its universal message stays the same.